So I was talking to a mentor of mine about standard, business cycles and the business life cycles and stages and all of that. The real ones, the real world versus textbook. And, the guy sold his second company for $140 million and his current company is growing 300% year over year. They're on track doing $60 million in revenue. So, when I want to go to somebody for advice about business, I want to talk to somebody that is actually doing it on a high level. And you want to know what he told me? He said, Tim, the reason why most businesses fail is that they're following the textbook life cycles, business stages that is being perpetuated. And even, if you watch a lot of these YouTube videos on here, they're kind of echoing the old school thinking on this. And I said, what do you mean? Like explain. He said, well, who do you think is creating the textbook definitions for this? I said, well, probably the professors, probably the schools, universities. And he said, exactly. And how many successful businesses do you think these professors at these schools have? And, I really thought about it. I said, well, that's not their focus. They're more looking at history and, what's been done and building based off of that, but they're not really building businesses. Exactly. And what is the income of the normal university professor? I don't actually know what it is, but it's definitely below, $100,000 a year. And he said, and is that the income you want to be making? He said, no, as a business owner, I want to grow and scale very, very big. And he said, Tim, the reason why they fail is that they're following business advice from people that aren't actually running businesses, or they're not actually earning the income they want to make. And for me, that was like, holy cow. Yeah, like that makes sense. Why would I go get advice on fitness from somebody that's eating Cheetos and never working out? I'd want to go get fitness advice from somebody that's working out. I wouldn't want to go get swimming lessons from a person that doesn't know how to swim. I'd want to get swimming lessons from somebody who's really good at swimming. And it's the same thing in business. We want to make sure that whoever we're learning these things from, that we're getting the right information, because understanding your business stages and cycles and then learning that from a person who's not even running a business, you're just listening to the echoes of the perpetuated university system, it's going to lead to failure. So how do you know what the accurate stages are and how you can use that as you're building and scaling your business? In today's video, I'm going to share with you exactly what my mentor shared with me so that you can have the accurate and right business stages and cycles in your business, as well as at the end, I'm going to give you a bonus training that's going to help you sell more and scale more with your client base. But before I do that, make sure to subscribe to the channel, click that bell button so every time I drop a hot one, you're the first to hear about it. So before I jump in and tell you the step-by-step on what my mentor taught me, I want to just kind of reiterate what most people are perpetuating out there so that you can kind of see the difference between what the textbook is and what the real world entrepreneurs that are scaling are doing. So a textbook is going to be something like this. Startup is 0 to 2 employees. Early growth is 1 to 10 employees. Expansion is 12 to 50 employees. Maturity is 50 plus employees. Late maturity and decline happens after that. That's the textbook, business cycles, growth stages, and it's ridiculous because true business cycles and stages have to do with revenue per employee, not just employee count. I remember the first business that I built, we were doing just around $1 million and I had 13 employees. That is bad. That's a clear indication that you have too many employees for your revenue. You're not making enough revenue per employee. I didn't know that. And so my first big success became a big failure. So understanding your revenue per employee is a critical part of your growth stages in your business cycles. You're also going to run into unique challenges as you go through each one of these stages or cycles. And I'm gonna walk you through each one and then kind of tell you the different and unique challenges you're gonna face as you go through each one, because most people don't understand these stages and these phases. They get tripped up, and when you kind of get to the next stage, it's like people keep hitting the ceiling and they don't know what's happening. And I want to make sure that as you're going through your different business cycles and growth stages, that you actually understand what to do as you hit each, I don't know what the right word is, but as you hit each kind of barrier to get to that next stage. The first business is $1 million or less. Like they're doing under $1 million, and this is where a lot of people get messed up. And it happened to me where I had 13 employees doing $1 million a year. That's not healthy. You need to have about 3 to 4 employees per million. So your first million, it might be a little bit more because you're working and there's all these systems being built. But ideally, you're about 3 or 4 employees per million. So your first stage is going to be that, million or less. And to get past that million, you have to stabilize that you can generate that kind of revenue off of 3 or 4 employees. Your next stage is going to be between 1 and 3 million. This is where you have some solid pillar employees. You have about 2 or 3 marketing and sales channels that are producing well for you, between about 6 and 12 employees. And this is a really hard phase to get past because you have some really core pillar employees, but it's hard to get past that 12 pillar employee mark because you're trying to duplicate the system. So a lot of times people can get trapped between that 1 and 3 million with 6 to 12 employees. And let me ask you on this, if you're doing 2 million and you have systems pretty well running by themselves and you have a good team that's doing a lot of the hard work, do you feel like there might be a temptation for you to kind of let off the gas and relax a little bit? Well, hey, we're doing 2 million, man. We made it. We're doing good. That happens a lot, and it's actually a very, very dangerous business stage to be in, to let off the gas, because you've not quite established a big enough team and structure to keep growing and scaling without you. You might think you have, but this is where people let off the gas and then they go big success and then big crash and then big success and then big crash, is because this is a really, really dangerous business stage to be in, between that 6 and 12 employees and doing 1 to 3 million, because mentally you kind of feel like you've made it, but the reality is it's very fragile. I mean, you lose 1 really solid employee or 2 really solid employees, or a big change happens that messes with one of your marketing channels, and you're really exposed. You're really weak. I mean, you can really get flipped upside down on this stage very, very quickly. The next stage is between 3 and 10 million. This is a great place to be. If you've made it here, congratulations. This means that you have at least 13 plus pillar employees, meaning you've surpassed that 12 employee mark, and these are all pillar employees. You have great systems, great structure. You have plenty of marketing channels producing revenue for you, and it's pretty well running good by itself. It's healthy, and if you've done it right, you have 2 to 4 employees per million. 3 or 4, it'll be ideal. If you can get it down to 2, like, wow, you're doing incredible. But 3 to 4 employees per million, and you're doing between 3 and 10 million. You've got 13 plus pillar core great employees. You have really good systems and documentation, so the system is starting to run really, really well by itself. But there is some drawbacks that happen when you get to the 10 million mark and you try to move past that. One of the big problems here is going to be your executive team. So really, to move past this, you're not going to just need those pillar employees. You're going to need a good executive team that can bring you to that next phase. And just because somebody's a pillar employee in their role doesn't mean that they're qualified to be one of those executive roles that takes it to the next stage. Now, you don't have to go out and hire this big, crazy executive, but you need to make sure that your executive team has what it takes to bring you past the 10 million mark. Now, and another problem that you're gonna run into with this stage, and I see it at smaller stages as well, is customer lifetime value. Now, this is meaning, like, what'll happen with these smaller companies is they're really focused on, hey, I need to spend $1 and make 5 off of this. I need to spend $1 on my ads, make 5 off of this quickly, so that I can scale it up quickly. But what the trap with that is that you're so focused on making that money back quickly, you kind of lose the whole idea of you need to increase lifetime value, because instead of trying to spend $1 and make 5, you should try to figure out how you can spend more money to get a customer, but you make more money on that client in the long run. And how do you do this? You do this with things like adding more products. Yeah, you can increase your prices, but you can add more products if you do a great job for your client. There always has to be a next thing to sell. So the lifetime value of a client for one person is, like, let's just say $15,000 in their first year. And for another person, they make, let's say, $100,000 in the first year on average. You can spend a lot more money to get a client that's worth $100,000 to you over that year. So what you want to try to do is add more products, increase the lifetime value as much as you can, and that allows you to expand your marketing channels. You're not so focused on, I need to get the cheapest lead I can get. You're going, I can afford to get tons of leads from tons of sources, which allows me to grow and scale higher. And because you're focused on lifetime value, it's actually very, very profitable. So that's the 3 to 10 million range. Very, very good place to be. But to get to that next level past 10 million, you need to have a really good executive team, and you need to really have a good lifetime value. And if you look at any of the big, highly successful companies, you see that they have both those things. They have a really high lifetime value, and they have a great executive team. Next stage is that 10 to 30 million. By this point, you have a good executive team. You're growing. You're doing 3 to 4 employees per million. You have multiple products, so your lifetime value is very good. You have 5 or 6 great marketing channels that are producing leads and results. Like everything is really, really solid here. But you are gonna run into, obviously, when you try to go past that 30 million mark, you're gonna run into a couple obstacles. You see, at this stage, you're no longer this fast growing startup that you're really tight and everybody knows everybody. You're starting to become bigger. And so it's hard to maintain the relationships, to maintain the culture that got you to where you're at now. So a lot of that you're gonna have to build right now is around how do you create culture and structure so that even as the company and the team and the systems are expanding, that it still has that small startup feel. Otherwise, you're gonna start getting a corporate feel where employees are not quite working as hard, they're not strategizing as hard, and so you're starting to have a lot of people that are not engaged at work, and so you're becoming very inefficient. People are stealing and robbing. To get past that 30 million mark, you have to build a really, really solid cultural system. Now, you needed it to get here, but the system you need to go past, the 10 to 30 million is going to be a different system to make sure you're keeping your solid culture in place. And all on top of just your employee culture, your clients, they need to not feel like they're just a number in the system. You have to have a very personalized system that makes them feel like they're actually special. Now, I have another mentor of mine, and he's doing he's doing almost $1 billion a year now. And every time I order a product from him, not from him specifically, from his company, it comes with a handwritten note. Hey, thanks for ordering. You're gonna love this. It's great. Every single time I order a physical product from them, their team writes a handwritten note. And so even though it's a near $1 billion company, when I as a customer buy a product for them, I feel that personalized, humanized attention to detail. Now, that's something you can do at every level in your business, but especially when you get past the 30 million mark, it's going to be critical that you have a humanization both for the employee culture and that your clients feel humanized. Of course, there's different business cycles that the companies go through. You have an Amazon that's going through business cycles that we don't even know about yet because they're just like these huge, huge companies. But I can say a really good book to read is the Bezos letters, and it's Jeff Bezos' shareholder letters, and it's basically documents from the beginning to where they're at now, his shareholder letters, and it's an incredibly helpful book to see behind the scenes of a giant like Amazon. Now, we do have some clients and I do have some friends that are past the $100 million a year mark. But the ones that I share with you, those are the ones I feel most comfortable speaking about with you and have some insight on. Now, if you want to see how to get more customers, I do have a bonus for you. You can grab that free link at the end. I don't make any money off of it. It's literally my gift to you. The only thing I ask is that if you use that free training, that you do give some testimony and feedback. Now, if you have any questions, I will be responding in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. And if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe and click that bell. If you want to get that free guide that I was talking about, you can click the link below here. It's going to help you sell more and scale more. That's what I'm here to do. Again, this is Tim with the Tim Dodd Show, and I'll talk to you soon.